Hey guys, welcome to this video. My name is Hussein Bhavnagarwala and I am a mechanical engineering student here at ASU. I'm doing my masters. And this video I'm going to talk about how to get your part-time job over here and what are the strategies that I found useful or I saw people using to get the job. Getting a part-time job here is super important, or it's at least really helpful because it covers some of your costs and it makes living here a bit easier. So let me dive straight into it. The first one is regarding Aramark. So Aramark is kind of like a company that manages a lot of the catering that happens here on campus. And so they hire students to work at restaurants or do a lot of the odd jobs around the restaurants. So what I saw work for a lot of the students is they came to the campus a few weeks earlier than what we would regularly come at. And they basically just walked up to the restaurant and just asked them hey, I want a job and I want to work here. And most probably they would just ask you to fill up a form online and have a little bit of procedure and then hire you after that. So the students that came at least 2 weeks earlier to the start date of the course, they landed a job at Aramark, and that was kind of helpful to have initially even before the university started. So that is something that I would keep in mind. The other thing is just about going to the student jobs website and applying really early. So something that worked for a lot of people was that they started applying for jobs in June or July when the semester starts in August. So being a month or two ahead. And I did that as well. And I got an interview with two kind of roles. One was for a math tutor and then one was for a 3D printing lab. Although I didn't get those jobs, I know a lot of people who interviewed much before they started and got the job before they even landed in the US. So do that. I'm also going to leave a link of the student job portal in this video. And so just go and fire away at as many jobs as you can. Also, I saw a YouTuber who kind of applied to almost every job possible, and he ran the numbers, and basically what he did was apply to everything, and within a month or so he was able to kind of land something basic and get a part-time job. The next one is about volunteering. So there are a lot of organizations or departments at ASU, and some of them get volunteers to help them out. So I know one called ISSE, which is for the International Students Association or something like that, and they take a lot of volunteers. So volunteering there, I've seen a lot of people who then convert that volunteering kind of role into a student part-time job role. And they would prefer hiring someone who volunteered because they probably know the job and they kind of have a rapport with the people there, things like that. The disadvantage is you'll have to put in a bit of time in conducting events and basically helping out for all of these events that are happening at ISSE. So this is one thing to consider. The next is something that I would say proceed with caution. This is kind of a meet and greet and a kind of elevator pitch. So when you go to the student job portal, you will have a department mentioned who is hiring. And basically what I would do is I would go to that department and find out who the hiring manager is and try to talk to them and say, hey, this is what I do, and try to convince them that they should hire me. Because a lot of these jobs don't require any particular skill. They just need some person doing them. And if you kind of show the interest to go there and talk to them, they will also be okay, might as well just hire this guy who's come in front of me. So that has worked for a couple of people as well. But a lot of the professors and the hiring staff do not like being approached by students. So you have to be very friendly, very courteous, always say hi, how are you, and have a little bit of conversation before you jump in and say I want the job. So that is something to definitely keep in mind. And if they say no and they say stop coming to my office, please stop it. Don't kind of harass them or something that might end up in a bad situation. Next thing is referrals from friends. So this has also worked for a lot of people. Sometimes your friend or a senior person who's been here in the university is graduating and left his job. He might just refer you to the hiring man and say, hey, this guy is really good, and you can get a job that way. Or if he's working and a position in his department has opened up, it can be any position. If he puts in a good word, you can easily meet the hiring manager and kind of convince him that way. So that is also a good way. So try to connect and network with a lot of students on LinkedIn and any other place where you can network with existing students, and try to have a rapport going with them, and then you can ask them, hey, can you refer me, is there any job opening? So things like that. I actually spoke to a student on LinkedIn who asked me to go to a particular department, and that is kind of how I got the role that I did in my first 2 semesters. So that is definitely helpful. Talk to a lot of people on LinkedIn and try to get their opinion. The next one is getting a driver's license. So a lot of people who come to the US don't have this Arizona Class D driver's license, and a lot of the times there are many jobs that I've seen that actually require them. So on the job description on the student portal, it will say that, hey, only if you have a Class D driver's license you can even apply. So if you have a driver's license, it would put you kind of up there in terms of wanting to hire you. So that is something to keep in mind. And actually getting a driver's license is a bit of a painful process. I wouldn't say not too painful, but I mean, you have to pursue it a bit and get it done. I being here for almost a year, I don't have a driver's license yet, and it's kind of because I'm lazy and I just don't want to do it. But having a driver's license now, I realize can unlock those potential part-time jobs for you. And driving here is not too bad. The roads are big, the cars are big, and everyone follows the rules here, so it's I think it would be straightforward. The last one would be a grader position. So a grader is given to students usually after the first semester, and only if you have done that particular course. So for the grader position, maybe in your second semester you can try for that. And over here what usually works is kind of emailing the professor first at the end of the semester, end of your first semester, whichever subject you're doing really well in. You email the professor, and you also meet him in person. Meeting him in person is very critical, because a lot of students email but nobody goes and meets the professor in person. So you have to do that and talk to them and try to get a rapport with them. And usually they 80 to 90% they would be okay. What I did was, at the end of my first semester, I actually wanted to be a TA. So I made a whole video of me teaching that subject, and I sent it to the professor, and then I went in person and met him. And I said, I want to be the TA for the subject. And he was like, no, I've already have a TA, and I don't decide the TA, so I can't do that, but I can give you a grader position. So that's how I got to be a grader in the second sem. And it's not too bad. I'm not complaining. I still do get paid. I got hours for that as well, and it was good. But there's something to keep in mind, when you're applying to be a grader, try to make an impact on the professor so that he's okay, I'd rather take this guy. The next or the last of the last would be TA or RA. So TA positions, usually for the mechanical school, they don't give it to master students, because they only give it to kind of PhD students. So that is kind of out of the question, at least for the first semester. At least for a lot of people, there might be those few geniuses that probably don't need to watch this video, but maybe they can get it. And RA, I have heard a few students are very good at maybe answers or analysis softwares like ComSol, and before you come here you can actually talk to professors who require these kind of skills, and you directly work for them. Mostly in your first time you might be volunteering, so that they can kind of see what you're doing and whether your work is good and things like that. And if they really like you, they probably take you as RA. So these are the ways you can get a part-time job. These are the strategies that I know of or have worked for people who I know. There are also good YouTube videos that I have seen, and I'll try and link some of them here as well, and that can benefit you. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you get a part-time job before you land here. That's the best thing that could happen. And yeah, don't forget to share, subscribe, obviously. Thank you for watching this video. Yeah.